in version 1.2 of the 5-pin bowling app. Just this morning, I actually created the application and shared it or submitted it to Apple for approval. So you should probably see the app on your device probably within a week, maybe a week and a half too. It depends on Apple. But this screencast is going to show you what's new. And if you've been watching any of these other screencasts, you'll have seen a few things. It's like, oh, well, that's interesting. I hadn't seen that before. But this is kind of the summary. All right, so let's go into the application. First thing that you're going to notice is that there's this new section down here on the main screen. So rather than just these two options, you're going to see a few more. And they're pretty self-explanatory. I wanted to be able to give people a way to share the application with other people, provide their feedback to me, or contact me directly and let me know what's bugging you, or what features you'd like to see, or whatever. So first of all, tell a friend. This just gives you a place to type in an email to somebody. It puts in the icon, gives you a link to the iTunes Apple Store, the App Store, so that the person that you're sending it to can tap on that and download the application if they like. Rate this app. I can't show you that here because I'm in the simulator, but if you tap on that, that would take you to the App Store application within your phone and allow you to give it a rating, number of stars, and type in a few comments, all that kind of thing. And that's always good. I like to see ratings. Email the developer. That's me. So you get to email me, right? So tap on that. It gives you the address here at the top. Puts in the subject line a question, a bug report, or an enhancement request. So if there's things you'd like to see, or things you don't understand about the app, or heaven forbid there's a bug in there somewhere, feel free to email those to me and I'll try and take care of those as soon as possible. Or give you information about how to get around them if it truly is a bug or something that isn't clear in the application. And then open Facebook. So there is now I hope this will work. Let's try that. Cool. So there's now a 5-pin bowling app Facebook page, and again, this was another way I'm trying to connect with the rest of the community out there of people who use the application and provide them a place where they can share information. Gang up on me if you guys really hate something, or hey, maybe like the page and say, hey, this is fantastic. I'm glad you took the effort to, or the initiative to try and make this application. So go ahead and do whatever you want in here. Again, bugs, enhancement requests, anything like that, feel free to do in there. All right, and that's brand new, so there's hardly anybody in there. So you might be one of the first ones. So go for it. Next, so let's go into this. So one of the things that you'll see are nice little watermarks on all of these pages. So here's like a league watermark. If I go in here, I get the bowler watermark. If I go in here, I get the series. And it also gives me instructions. So if there's absolutely nothing in here, then it'll tell you what to do. So in the first version of the application, even the second version of the application, you just came in here and it was blank, and it was really up to you to kind of explore and figure out, oh gee, I got to hit this plus button up here in order to add something. So I figured that kind of sucked. So I wanted to help new people kind of get into the app, because to be honest, these first three screens are really kind of boring, right? I got leagues, I got bowlers, it's just text and all that kind of good stuff. You only really get into some real functionality once you're in here and you got some data, or once you're in here and you're actually creating some stuff. This is where it's kind of interesting. So I wanted to help people get into the app. I didn't want them to be too put off by just a bunch of blank screens. So I got some new graphics in here. Yay. Another new feature in here, which I'm sure you notice if you take a look at it, is that things are highlighted. When you always have your cardboard scorecard and you're looking at it and you're going, gee, what was my best game this season? You got to look through them all. It's kind of annoying. What was my second and third best games? And it's hard to see. And it was hard to see in the app too, right? So I said, well, highlighters, right? Everybody uses highlighters in university, high school, whatever, and to highlight things. So I figured, why not provide a way to highlight things within the application? And that's what this button is for. So you tap on that, and it gives you a bunch of options here. So how to highlight single games. And you have 4 options: greater than or equal to, greater than, less than, yada yada. The actual score that you want, the threshold, I suppose. So only highlight games that are greater than or equal to 200, and highlight them in one of these colors. So it's blue. I think it's yellow by default when you start the application up, but you can change that to whichever color you want. And then the same thing for a series. I want to highlight which series, which of my triples were the best. So again, I just set some default values here, but you can change those to whatever you want. And you get some nice highlighting here. So it's nice and easy now to go through this thing and see what are your high games. And let's suppose you really start doing awesome, and it's like, well, 200 or whatever my setting was before isn't doing it for me anymore. Too many things are highlighted. Well, just bump that thing up. So go nuts with that. It's kind of a fun feature. Let's go in here. So again, there's a couple of new things that are obvious right on screen here, and that's this thing. So before, you used to have to grab this and pull it over, but it wasn't obvious, right? It wasn't obvious about how you got from game 1 to game 2 to game 3, and you only figured it out by playing around. And again, that's not great UI design, so I changed that. So there's now 3 buttons up here at the top, and you just tap between them. So that's hopefully a heck of a lot easier about how to change games. There's another one over here, looks like a lock screen, right? And that's because, well, that's pretty much what it is. So whenever you're finished bowling a game or you've entered in a final value, when I come back into that series, it's going to have that game automatically locked. So I can't accidentally start, tapping on pins and making changes to it. That's, I found that was a problem for me, and I got some feedback saying, yeah, that was a problem for a few other folks. And so this lock is really awesome. So I can just tap on it and I can unlock it, and of course now I can make changes, which you probably don't want to do. Let's see, what else do we got in here? Okay, so in the statistics screen, you used to be able to see just percentages. Well, now you can see the actual number of middle hits or number of strikes. So it's great to see, yeah, I got 50% were strikes. How many did I actually get? So I did that across all of the stats so that people can see them. Added a new head pin stat because, as much as you hate to see them, it's a great excuse, right? It's like, oh man, I would have bowled awesome, except I got, X number of head pins. So that's a great stat to add to this thing. Over here we got sharing options, and there's another screencast about just sharing in here. And so this is particularly in iOS 6, you can do all kinds of stuff in here, right? So you can share mail, share SMS messages. That icon isn't here because I'm in the simulator. Twitter, Facebook. If you're in China, I suppose, and you're doing some 5-pin bowling and you're a part of Weibo, go nuts. You can assign the image of the actual game to somebody. So again, I'll just kind of quickly highlight it. You get the actual game, the entire game, even though this isn't really all that representative. The entire game is attached to all of your tweets and your Facebook posts and so on. But you can also print, save it to the camera roll, copy it to the clipboard so you can paste it somewhere else. So this is fantastic for people who want to take information out of the application and share it with other people. If there are other things that people want to do, again, email me. I know there were some requests for things like creating PDFs and things like that. If this isn't enough, let me know, and I'll start work on some more features. There's this what if thing, right? So let's just kind of create one here. So here's my let's suppose I get a chop off, I get a spare, now I get a head pin, great, 3, and then I get the 5. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this game's going along okay, I'm generally hitting the middle pin, but I wonder what would happen if I was to strike out and everything else. All right, let's suppose let's suppose I have a magic day, and from now on I'm going to get strikes. What is my score going to be? So I thought that was kind of a fun thing. I always wondered it when I was a kid, so, and I always hear people doing that. You can still get this if you just get your strikes or your spares or whatever. And I'm thinking, well, why don't I just add that to the app as well? So now I got a 33 in the second. If I got strikes in all the other frames, I could possibly get a 393, which is pretty darn awesome. So that's another new feature. I think that's pretty much it. I think we've covered it. So if you got any questions, anything else you'd like to add for the next release, let me know. Thanks.